Welcome to the latest edition of the Shukri Wrights Podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights. It is a very, very big day. A big day for the Boston Bruins, and not only because training camp has officially arrived. Boston Bruins training camp 2023 has officially commenced with a major announcement. Brad Marchand is the 27th captain in the glorious history of the Boston Bruins. Let me repeat that. Specifically for the Brad Marchand haters across NHL's other 31 franchises and fan bases. Brad Marchand has been named the 27th captain in the history of the Boston Bruins organization. First and foremost, congratulations to Brad Marchand himself, because this was so deserved. Although earlier this summer, I did have a take in which that I wanted and predicted, I thought that my prediction was going to come true, that Charlie McAvoy was going to be named the captain of the Boston Bruins, but no, it's Brad Marchand, and rightfully so. Because there are many people out there that are saying, really, that guy? But Coach Jim Montgomery really said it best when he said, we don't concern ourselves with the opinions of others. We know what we have in Brad Marchand, and we're lucky to have him here. And that last part I paraphrased, but the first half, that's exactly what he said, and rightfully so. Let me give you a list of who has been the captains in Boston Bruins history. The first one in the history of the franchise, Scrooge Cleghorn. Number 2, Lionel Hitchman. Number 3, George Owen. Number 4, Dit Clapper. Number 5, Marley Berry. Number 6, Kel Stewart. Number 7, Eddie Shore. Number 8, Red Beatty. Number 9, Cooney Wayland. Number 10, Bill Cowley. At number 11, John Crawford. Number 12, Bobby Bauer. Number 13, Milt Schmidt, the incomparable Milt Schmidt. Number 14, Ed Sanford. Number 15, Ferry Flaman. Number 16, Don McKinney. Number 17, Leo Boivin. Number 18, Johnny Busick. Number 19, Wayne Cashman. Number 20, Terry O'Reilly. Number 21, it was shared between Rick Middleton, Nifty, and the legendary Ray Bourque. 22nd captain was a solo one, Ray Bourque. 23rd was Jason Allison. Number 24, Joe Thornton. The 25th captain in Bruins history was none other than Zdeno Chara. The 26th captain of the Boston Bruins was Patrice Bergeron, who just retired. And now the 27th captain in Boston Bruins history is none other than Brad Marchand. Noseface killer. Stone cold assassin on the ice. Here's why I think this decision by the Boston Bruins is actually an amazing one. Because, one, Brad Marchand has had to deal with a lot of self-inflicted wounds that he created in terms of his own reputation that was his undoing. That's number one. Number 2, Brad Marchand in the last several years has grown tremendously since the face-licking incident in round 2 of the 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs between the Bruins and Lightning. Number 3, as the Boston Bruins enter a transition period in its franchise history, especially for this season, what better guy to have as your captain than Brad Marchand, who has been there with the Bruins throughout, from its Stanley Cup championship glory year to consistent being competitive consistently over the last decade plus, and as well as the two other Cup final appearances, 2013 and 19. This is the guy you want leading this group moving forward. You want Brad Marchand, a guy who knows what it takes to win, and a guy who knows what it's like to have lost. This is the guy that the Bruins need. Especially guys like David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy. They're all entering the prime of their careers. And guys like Hampus Lindholm, who was acquired 2 seasons ago at the trade deadline and so forth. This is someone that you need. This is someone in which he is the hardest working guy on the ice. Patrice Bergeron himself said it. Bergeron had admitted that Marchand is the hardest working guy. We know about the exploits and the legendary work ethic that Zdeno Chara had during his playing days, especially as a Bruin, that helped change and mold the culture of the Boston Bruins. Brad Marchand is the biggest beneficiary of that. He's going to show the other players on this team that you're not going to outwork me. I expect you to work as hard as I do and show that level of commitment in being a Boston Bruin. We obviously know guys such as Lindholm, such as DeBrusk, such as McAvoy, such as Pastrnak, DeBrusk. We all know that those guys fully understand what it's like to be a Boston Bruin, including as well as Charlie Coyle, respect to him as well, and Ullmark and Swayman. But it makes all too much sense for the Bruins to go to Marchand, because after all, I want you to think about this for a moment. The Bruins had Zdeno Chara as captain for 14 years, right? They had Patrice Bergeron the last 3, and now Marchand. In that leadership group, it makes so much sense that Marchand is the guy, considering that he's learned from 2 of the best captains in hockey that hockey has had in the last 15, 20 years. We're talking about in terms of quality of leadership, changing a culture, instilling the hardcore values that the Bruins organization is built upon and so forth. He's been a part of that. And yes, I know that's going to incite a lot of eye rolls, because look at him. He licked Ryan Callahan's face. Look at him. He tripped a player behind the referee's head. Like, I get all that. But make no mistake about this. You and I know damn well that Brad Marchand is the kind of player that you, other 31 teams, wish to have on your roster. But he's a Boston Bruin. He's the guy that's been selected to lead this team moving forward, especially for this season. In a season where, let's face it, it's going to be a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot of question marks. I don't think you could have selected a better leader in Brad Marchand to lead this team. And you want to talk about an amazing story coming full circle? This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to remember Brad Marchand, when he got called up to the NHL, he was called up as a 4th liner. He was called up as someone who was going to play on the 4th line, grind out, to take on the tough checking matchups and so forth. And he said, I'm going to become a top line player. Just watch. He famously told former head coach Claude Julien, his first head coach, when he got called up to the NHL, that I'm going to score you 20 goals this season. Watch. And he did. He scored 21 goals in the year that the Bruins won the Stanley Cup in 2010, 2011. He went from there to working on his offensive game. He went from there to having to deal with the criticism of his antics on the ice. It got so bad that after the 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs, it was reported and widely talked about that some members of the leadership group had to pull Marchand to the side and say, "Hey, cut it out. Enough is enough." And he has worked hard to rehab that image. He's still that fiery guy, that temperament of a type of player, but you know where his heart is. You know of the caliber of a player that you have in Marchand. And you're seeing that now as he entered the post like Stanley Cup Finals appearance years, being named an alternate captain along with Bergeron, Krejci, and so forth. And then when Bergeron became captain, Marchand was named alternate captain, and rightfully so. And now what you're going to see is a player who has a beautiful opportunity to show that he is much more than being Bergeron's line mate for so many years, something that he himself doesn't take lightly. You're going to see what he can do as a captain, as a leader of this team. And that I am genuinely excited to see how it all unfolds. Because we're about to see a brand new era, a brand new phase in the career of Brad Marchand, a guy that's gone from being a second-round draft pick to a fourth liner, Stanley Cup champion, the antagonizer on the ice, becoming an important part of the Bruins leadership group, to becoming an alternate captain, and now the 27th captain in Bruins history. That is truly incredible. And the biggest lesson of it all in all of that is don't let anyone else's expectation define you. Don't let someone else's reality dictate your reality. You go out there and you make something of yourself. And that's exactly what Brad Marchand did. He's now the captain of an Original Six franchise that's about to embark on its centennial season. How special is that? Pretty special, if you ask me. Amazing. Coming up next, I want to talk about Shohei Ohtani, because I do think there is something to be said about his future and what that may look like, especially on the free agent market. I'm going to talk about that coming up next here in the Shukri Wrights Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Shukri Wrights Podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights. Hope you're enjoying the episode so far on iHeartRadio and wherever else you get your podcast. It is also available on Odyssey, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also watch it as well exclusively on YouTube. Type in the Shukri Wrights Podcast, episode 6, season 5, as well. So thank you all who watch my content, listen to the podcast and whatnot. I appreciate you as always. One of the great travesties in sports this year is that we didn't get to see a full season of the dominance of Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim two-way superstar Shohei Ohtani. On the mound, he was absolutely spectacular. On as a bat, he was probably even better. Make no two ways about it. And you talk about someone who absolutely was not only just making history, but was changing the game in more ways than one. And one of the things that I do think that is a big travesty is that we did not get to see Shohei Ohtani play an entire season. His season was cut short due to injury. A torn UCL, which typically means you need to get Tommy John, right? So as a result, of that. And it was tragic. I mean, it's tragic just no matter how you want to put it and so forth. We were robbed of seeing all-time greatness in full season. On the mound this season, he was 10-5 with a 3.14 earned run average, 167 strikeouts, and 132 innings. At the plate, oh my God. At the plate this past season, he was absolutely spectacular. He hit 45 homers and 95 runs batted in. And it doesn't help that he only played 135 games, which obviously is 27 games, just short of playing an entire full season. But we will never know what the full season totals would have been if he had stayed healthy. Now, part of that also is a reason why the Angels will, in fact, miss the postseason. For the 9th straight year, they have not made the postseason since 2014. They've only made it once in the Mike Trout era. That is from 2012 on. And since Ohtani has arrived in Anaheim, they have not made the postseason. They have not played in a postseason game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as baseball and the regular season approaches, October baseball is coming up very, very short order. And then after the World Series concludes, we are going to turn our attention post-award season, but to the baseball hot stove. And the biggest name that's going to be out there for baseball fans and sports fans that are going to be wondering what is going to be next is Shohei Ohtani. Because Shohei Ohtani is going to be a free agent, an unrestricted free agent, meaning that he is going to play either with the Angels or elsewhere. Let me ask you this question in all seriousness. Is Shohei Ohtani worth $500 million? Because we've seen some of the free agent contracts and contract extensions we've seen in the sport. We have. Make no bones about it. And Shohei Ohtani, I am willing to bet after the season he just had, albeit a season cut short due to an injury, he's going to get paid. He is going to get paid. That's not the question. How much is he going to get paid and by whom? Is he worth $500? And should the Angels, in all seriousness, even consider or even entertain the idea of signing him long-term? Because let's keep it all the way 100. The Angels have committed arguably the biggest tragedy, and they suffered through the greatest travesty in the sport in the last decade plus. There's no debate about that whatsoever. None. Zero. They tried and tried and tried again and again to remain competitive, but they have failed miserably. They signed Albert Pujols after Pujols won the 2011 World Series. How did that go? Pujols was not the same player that he was in St. Louis. That's a fact. They went out and they signed Josh Hamilton. How did that go? Not well. They went out and they signed C.J. Wilson as part of that deal as well. That didn't end well. They went out and as well as, let's see. They signed Mike Trout to a long-term contract extension. So far, it hasn't gone well. And that's not on the far off Mike Trout at all. But the results and the returns from that signings, and then those signings, not good. They bring in Shohei Ohtani from Japan. Two-way superstar who can hit and who can pitch. Has that gone well? You may have seen someone who is must-see TV, sure. But baseball is ultimately about competition, competing for championships. And that is something that the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim have not done. They haven't done that in quite some time. The big ticket signings and free agents hasn't all worked out, which is why the Angels not trading away Shohei Ohtani is a grave mistake. Arte Moreno, the owner of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, cannot be trusted. You had an opportunity to trade him, and you wanted to hold on to him, fine, because you believe that you were still in it. But coming out of the gate to start the unofficial second half of the season following the baseball all-star break, the Angels floundered. They floundered badly. And as a result, they fell out of playoff contention pretty quickly. So, with that being said, you have to ask yourself, are the Angels better suited letting him go? And if the Angels do pay him, are they going to pay him $500 million? And I think that in itself is a very real and a very legitimate question. It's an important question because, honestly speaking, I don't think the Angels should pay him $500 million. I don't think any team in baseball should pay him that kind of money. Not because he isn't that good of a player, because obviously he is a player that we have never seen in our lifetime. But the harsh truth for the Angels on the Angels side of things is this. You have not had a competitive team in over a decade. You had one playoff team in the last 10 plus years and have had nothing to show for it. Nothing. So why invest that kind of money into a player? Yeah, he may bring fans to the seats, but even then, Angel fans aren't selling out Angel Stadium every single night. Why invest that kind of money into one player where the Angels have so many other needs that they need to address? Mike Trout, I'm certain in saying this, I don't think he's happy in Anaheim. He may have tried to do the noble thing and try to be as loyal to the Angels as possible. But the truth is, Mike Trout, if he does not leave the Angels, and I mean via trade, it is going to go down as one of the great tragedies that baseball has seen in quite some time. Because Mike Trout, ladies and gentlemen, has played in a grand total of 3 playoff games his entire surefire Hall of Fame career. Only 3. What was those 3? That was a 2014 American League Division Series against the eventual American League champion Kansas City Royals. The Angels were swept in that series. That's it. Only 3. And Ohtani has yet to get a sniff of October baseball. At what point do you say, if you are Ohtani and Trout, you have been on the same team, 2 of the best players in the sport, bar none, for quite some time, and Ohtani is due to get a historic payday. Is he worth it? $500 million? My honest answer to that is, not with the Angels. If some other team wants to spend $500 million on Shohei Ohtani, sure. But you better make damn sure that he's healthy and ready to go, because he's not going to pitch at all next season because of Tommy John. He's only going to be available to hit. He won't be available to pitch until 2025. is he worth the risk? Because he could very well become the sport's first $500 million player. And if you are the Angels, you got bigger fish to fry than to wonder about whether if Ohtani is going to stay or leave. Frankly, I don't blame him if he left, and I think he should leave. And I think Mike Trout should, in fact, ask for a trade out of Anaheim. Because with two of the best players in the sport on the same team, the Angels have done absolutely nothing since 2014. Nothing. Zero. Which is why I don't think it's crazy to say that the Angels should, in fact, let Ohtani walk and get real and get honest with yourself, because the free agent signings have not worked out. It hasn't worked out the way that you'd hope. And here we are, another year without the Angels playing October baseball. And that is a damn shame, considering that baseball since then, since they last made the postseason in 2014, have expanded the playoffs. Now there's a wild card round. There used to be just the wild card game, but it's now a best of three. Then the divisional series, then the LCS, then the World Series, as we all know. But make no mistake about it. Baseball is better suited with Ohtani leaving Anaheim and playing elsewhere. And if a team wants to spend $500 on a half and half cookie, so be it. So be it. Coming up next, what are you most excited for now that fall is officially upon us? I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts on that. That coming up next here on the Shukri Wrights Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Shukri Wrights Podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights. Hope you're enjoying the pod so far. Follow me on social media on Twitter, which is now formerly known as X. Well, it's known as X, but it's formerly known as Twitter. You get what I'm saying. Follow me at Shukri Wrights, at Shukri Wrights. Same handle for TikTok as well, and Instagram. You can follow me at SWrightsRadio_. Not a hard guy to find. Just Google my name. You'll find my socials and the content that I put out as well. Now that fall is officially upon us tomorrow. How are you feeling? I'm feeling great. To tell you the truth, I'm actually really happy that fall is here. And yes, the NFL season is well in progress. Yes, college football is in full swing. But you know what it also means? It also means that the best time of year is absolutely back. And the best month of the year in sports is truly right around the corner. Because guess what? The NHL regular season kicks off October 10th. The NBA season kicks off 2 weeks after. And then baseball postseason throughout the entire month of October. So, yeah, best time of year. Oh, that's right. And by the way, college football, as I mentioned, is already well in progress. So you have all four sports in the same calendar month. What are the odds? That's in terms of sports. So for me, sports-wise, we're entering the best time of year where, yeah, as I said, yeah, baseball, yeah, football and ongoing, and then NBA and NHL returns as well in very short order. What more can you possibly ask for? I don't think there is. I mean, there's plenty that you can watch on TV in terms of sports, in terms of, I mean, or there was baseball postseason. If your team is in it, congratulations. Mine won't. The Yankees won't be in there, but thankfully the Red Sox won't be in there as well. So yeah, at least there'll still be other teams that can watch and fight it out. At least the Bruins are coming back. At least the Patriots are in session, despite they absolutely suck right now. And the Bruins and Celtics are back in short order. But what I'm actually most excited for is the food of the fall. Hot cider. If you know, you know. I mean, ain't nothing like a apple cider donut in October. The weather gets chillier. It's hoodie season. Um, and you're I mean, for us guys, we're rocking our gray sweats. If you know, all that fun jazz. And of course, women they're gonna be looking for that warm body to, it's just everything. And then of course people who love Halloween, they love the scaries and so forth. There's also the spookiness on TV. Halloween themed shows and movies start reappearing, and before you know it, you got all the different ladies on social media talking about they're enjoying their pumpkin spice or they're enjoying their apple cider, whatever, or beverage while watching their favorite Halloween themed show. Nothing against it, nothing wrong with it. Hey, do you live your life? But I'm just telling you, this is what's in store as we're approaching the month of October. Oh, that's right. My birthday's coming up too. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Like, I've given that no sort of thought at all. I just haven't. I'm just been like, okay. Oh, great. Thank God. Hope that God blesses me to live to see turning 32 years old. That would be amazing. That would be great. But in terms of life in itself, and this is my first fall not living in New England since 2016, so in 7 years, it's gonna be different. Got me used to seeing the fall foliage. And the fall foliage in New England is unlike anywhere else, period. It just truly is. It is amazing. It is beautiful. I mean, what more can you possibly see? Sure, if you're in New York, you can go for a walk in Central Park, but maybe Prospect Park. That's it. But outside of that, it's not the same as fall in New England. If you know, you know. So fall is coming up in very short order, and I am fired up. I'm ready. I am so ready. And with fall coming up tomorrow, officially, people are going to start, making plans for like the upcoming holiday season, which is hard to believe that it is pretty much coming up in very short order. Halloween first, and then after that is the race for Thanksgiving. All that fun jazz. Yeah, but I'm excited. I'm excited because I mean, there's nothing like fall. It just is. It's just like that perfect transition from hot weather, warm weather, cool, chilly, and down right now it's cold, and you gotta start dressing like it's winter in the streets. Yeah. Oh yeah. As I said, we're entering the best time of year, and that's what I love about it. The change in weather, the clothes. Oh yeah. Speaking of clothes, flannels. If you know, you know flannels or the truth. There ain't nothing like wearing flannels like come October or anything like that. I'm just saying. Especially if you got a nice overcoat or two. I do. It's sweet. It is majestic. And then also, by the way, fresh pair of Timbs. Oh yeah. You know how that goes, especially if you're a New Yorker like me. Ain't nothing like wearing fresh butter Timbs. You heard? That, and plus, rocking a Yankee fitted. You know how that goes. You know how that works. Just quintessential New York, baby. Sensational. So with that being said, I'm fired up. I'm ready. I'm ready for the fall. I'm ready for the fall season to officially begin tomorrow, and I'm gonna welcome it like with open arms. It has been an eventful summer, and I'm ready for a new season, new weather, new blessings, new opportunities, new everything, you name it. And I wish that for every single one of you that listens and watches this podcast as well. On that note, I'm going to say thank you to all of you who have listened to this pod. I appreciate you. I love you. I look forward to talking to you again later. next time, take it easy, and I'll talk to you soon.